Hey, welcome back to the channel. With the release of Starfield being days away, I thought I'd create my personal top 5 list of Bethesda games. Where does your favourite rank on my list? Let's not waste time and dive right in to find out. At number 5, it's Oblivion, the 4th installment in the Elder Scrolls series. Having never played an Elder Scrolls game before, I was initially skeptical of how good the game would be. But after hearing so many good things, I decided to check it out, and I am so glad I did because Oblivion is an amazing game. Released back in 2006, this game blew my mind with its beautiful, expansive landscapes, caves to explore, towns to visit, and characters to meet. Oblivion's gameplay featured a fun and engaging combat system that allowed me to customize my experience to my personal playstyle. The game's Radiant AI system gave life to NPCs by providing them with their own schedules and routines, which played into several missions and made for a more believable world to explore.
Why? I'm smart, and you're smart. We know the right people, we get the best deals.
The story of the game focused on the gates of Oblivion and your efforts to find and close them. While the plot introduces interesting characters, following the story was perhaps the one part of the game that I wasn't a big fan of, and that's because I just didn't enjoy entering the Oblivion gates. For me, the gates felt repetitive and difficult, and it would usually end with me speedrunning to the end of them just to close them and get it over with. That small quibble aside, the game provides an incredible amount of side quests with some truly memorable moments and interesting characters to enjoy. At number 4, we have Fallout 76, and look, I know what you're thinking, but hear me out. I know this game had a well-documented rough launch back in 2018, and as a result, I didn't touch it, not until sometime in 2022. Having found myself with a desire to get back into the Fallout universe, and with the game being available on Game Pass, I figured why not give it a go. In the years since its launch, Fallout 76 has sent a wealth of updates and improvements. Combined with my already low expectations, this resulted in a surprisingly fun and enjoyable experience. While the initial story was lacking, with no NPCs, the updates I mentioned helped expand the lore of the world, which in turn improved the overall narrative. The introduction of those NPCs and some meaningful questlines added extra depth to the experience, which for me made it feel more like a classic Fallout game. Set in Appalachia, Fallout 76 takes place just 25 years after the bombs dropped. As someone who loves the Fallout world, I loved exploring this new environment, taking in as much of the lore as possible.
I am Orlando, your host and management liaison.
The one thing I haven't mentioned is the online component of the game. The game was sold as a team-based online experience, but I personally prefer to play it on my own as the chaotic nature of online play tends to break my immersion. Having said that, I have thoroughly enjoyed exploring the world and visiting other player camps. On top of that, the experience that I have had with other players in the world has been incredibly positive. Speaking of player camps, I loved building my own base, and the desire to recreate my vision fueled further exploration into the world as I looked for resources to build out my dream camp. All that being said, Fallout 76 is a great game, one that is well worth a revisit if you were put off by its initial release. Taking the bronze is Fallout 4. Released in 2015, this game looked to improve upon its predecessor by building upon the success of Skyrim, utilizing the creation engine to recreate the Fallout universe with improved detail and depth. The story kicks off before the bombs drop and showed us what a pre-war Fallout universe looked like.
Oh my god.
We need to get to the vault. Now!
I've got Sean. Let's go.
Residents of Sanctuary.
What follows next is your journey to find your kidnapped son in a post-apocalyptic Boston. It's an interesting story with classic Bethesda-style moral choices and a host of memorable characters.
It's really you!
The gameplay in Fallout 4 refines the combat system that was made popular in Fallout 3, with VATS making a return alongside NPC companions to accompany you on your journey. The introduction of a settlement building mechanic added a little extra gameplay variety, although I personally didn't focus too much on settlements in Fallout 4, as the management of the settlement wasn't that engaging to me. Overall, I enjoyed my experience with Fallout 4. It took me a while to get into it, but once I was in, I was hooked and wanted to see the story through. Unfortunately, the gameplay bugs that we have come to expect from Bethesda games were ever present throughout my time with the game, and while not game-breaking, the once charming nature of these bugs has certainly worn thin, and I can only hope they're not present in Starfield when the game launches. In the number 2 spot, it's Skyrim. The 5th entry in the Elder Scrolls series is without question the most popular game on this list, having been ported to everything since its initial release in 2011. It's a wonderful game and one that improves upon Oblivion in practically every aspect, exceeding expectations and setting the bar for open world games of its era. So why then is it not the top spot? Well, simply put, I love the world of Skyrim. The freedom of exploration is amazing, the combat is fun, and the game does a great job of crafting unique, memorable moments. But much like Oblivion, I was not compelled to follow the story through to the end. With Oblivion, I didn't enjoy the repetitive nature of the Oblivion gates, and in Skyrim, I just wasn't that keen on finding and defeating dragons. While the lore of the world is rich, unfortunately it just doesn't resonate with me in the way that others do. That being said, the gameplay in Skyrim is incredible. There are so many playstyles to experiment with and weapons to master. It's a genuine joy to explore the world, experiencing what Bethesda does best. I always enjoy my time with Skyrim, and I can see why it's number 1 for so many people. And at number 1, it's my first love, Fallout 3. Released in 2008, this game blew my mind and captured my imagination in a truly profound way. From the intro to the ending, I was fully immersed in the world, exploring as much of it as I could. This was my first experience with a Fallout game, and the lore of the universe instantly gripped me. The history, the factions, the characters, the enemies, all of them left their mark on me. As a fan of post-apocalyptic settings in all forms of media, this game was so up my street, I'd have it over for dinner every weekend if I could. Hours were spent exploring the metro stations, the abandoned Nuka-Cola plants, raider-infested super-duper marts, and everything in between. The story was engrossing, and the various ways you could approach missions made the game feel fresh and as if anything was possible. The gameplay in Fallout 3 is a rewarding experience with a well-designed environment that encourages exploration, and character progression that is well-paced and offers a variety of ways to play the game. The VATS targeting system was a great way to invoke the combat of the previous games and helped to create incredibly awesome moments. While Fallout 4 is graphically superior, bigger, and technically better in a host of ways, Fallout 3 has it beat when it comes to charm. I'd also argue that as a smaller game, it comfortably handles the world it creates in a way Fallout 4 struggles to at times. I don't think I'm alone in saying that one of the reasons I was kinda bummed out by Fallout 4 was due to how well Fallout 3 delivered on its concept. After completing it, I couldn't wait for the next installment. I think the fact that I was let down by Fallout 4 only speaks to how good of a game Fallout 3 was. I mean, 4 is still an amazing game, but you just can't beat Fallout 3. So there you have it, my top 5 Bethesda games of all time. Where will Starfield land on my list when it releases in September? Only time will tell. For now, be sure to let me know your favourite Bethesda games in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more gaming content.